Hi, this is Rob Bennett at robbennetspassionsaving.com. The title of this video is The True Cause of the Economic Crisis is the One We Don't Dare to Admit. There's a theme at that covers all the materials at passionsaving.com and that distinguishes my site from just about every other site on personal finance that I'm familiar with. Most sites on money and money sites sit on saving and investing and career growth. They focus on numbers and studies and graphics and tables and rules and all this sort of thing. Money sites tend to be serious, and the idea is that this is an intellectual process, figuring out money. And you have to go to school for many years, and you have to learn things, and once something is learned, whether you're an expert or not is determined by whether you know this secret information that only these experts are privy to. The focus, some of that is true. A lot of the conventional wisdom is rooted in real stuff, and there's value, and the people who work in this field are good people, and they're hardworking people, and I'm grateful for all of their insights. But it is my contention that they are missing an important part of the puzzle, and that is the human element, the human psychology element, the human behavioral element. And that's what I try to add, and I think it makes a big difference, because when you include the human element studying saving, you find that the conventional advice doesn't work because it doesn't motivate. Saving for an old age retirement doesn't motivate most of us. And so you can offer all the best advice in the world and it doesn't do a bit of good for a large number of people. Same thing on the investing side. What we know from the research of the past 32 years, which is generally ignored, the research from the 60s and 70s, is the root of all of the buy and hold insights. But the research that Robert Shiller did in 1981 and all the follow-up research that I've done and that Wade Pfau has done and that John Walter Russell's done and that Rob Arnott has done is usually ignored or downplayed. Sometimes there's this patronizing attitude. Oh, yeah, there's that research that says that, but, it's not that important. Not as if we need to include that in any of our discussions of the topic. That new research focuses on behavioral finance. That's the big breakthrough that we're trying to achieve, and that we have achieved it intellectually. We have not given ourselves permission to publicize it, and thus we have not seen the benefits of those insights. We have not reaped the benefits or the rewards. But we're there intellectually. It's just a question of getting through the big black wall, I call it. The people who came up with the earlier insights, who are good and smart people and hardworking people, they need to acknowledge they didn't know it all. And then we can all move forward. Well, that is what is going on with our economic crisis. And in truth, this economic crisis is an opportunity in disguise, because what I think is going to happen is, if you believe that Shiller's research, Robert Shiller, economics professor at Yale University, is on the mark, and I do, all of the investing materials at passionsaving.com are based on Shiller's research. If you believe that, we are going to see another stock crash sometime over the next year or two or three, and it's going to bring prices down another 65%. And that additional loss of middle-class wealth is in all likelihood going to put us in the second Great Depression. And that's scary. And it's because it's scary that we don't talk about it. There's nothing intellectually difficult about what I'm saying. I can tell you with very few words why we're in an economic crisis. Shiller's research showed that when stocks are overpriced, the the amount of the overvaluation, it doesn't even exist. It's pretend wealth. And it disappears. It's just cotton candy nothingness that disappears over the course of about 10 years. Doesn't always disappear in a day or a week or a month or a year, but over the course of about 10 years, it always does. No, there's not one exception. We have 140 years of stock price return information, and there's never been an exception. Every bull market leads to a huge price crash, and every huge price crash leads to an economic crisis. Because think what is happening when prices crash. Stocks were overpriced by a factor of 300% in January 2000. What that means in practical terms is that if you were close to retirement, say you need $1 million to support your retirement, and you're about 5 years away, and you've got $900,000 in your portfolio, you're thinking you're pretty close. You're going to make it. Not if you had $900,000 in January of 2000, because to know the true value of your portfolio, you need to divide by 3. So you had a true lasting value of 300,000, not 900,000. Why don't the experts tell you? Because you will get mad if they tell you. If they come along and say, you know what, you don't have $900,000, you have $300,000, it's going to upset you. And they're trying to sell you stuff. Okay? So they don't want to upset you. I do. I tell people this stuff. I've been doing it for 11 years, and there was a time when I was the most hated poster on the face of planet Internet because I tell the truth about stock investing. Why do I do it? Do I want people to hate me? No. I don't want people to hate me. I want to sell you stuff too. But I don't think we should have to be dishonest to work in this field. And I'm here to tell you, there's a phrase I use. I say that the stock selling industry is 100% corrupt. Strong statement, but it's true. Because I put a post to a Motley Fool discussion board on the morning of May 13th, 2002. I still remember that day, that fateful day. Saying that the buy and hold retirement studies get the numbers wrong. And they do. And people, they said all kinds of things. They said, oh, you're off your meds, and all this sort of thing. And we're going to kill your wife and children if you don't shut up. And, we're going to ban you from this board. And they did ban me. But it doesn't change what the data says. It doesn't change what the research says. And years later, I've been vindicated. The Wall Street Journal has said I'm right. Smart Money has said I'm right. Reuters has said I'm right. The Economist has said I'm right. Every major publication. So, there's now a consensus. Rob Bennett was right all along. He wasn't off his meds, after all. But guess what? Not one of those studies has been corrected in those 11. Even with the articles in the Wall Street Journal, they don't correct the studies. I did research with Wade Pfau. Wade Pfau is a economics professor. He has a PhD from Princeton. Great guy, smart guy. We spent 16 months preparing research that Wade and I both think is worthy of a Nobel Prize. It's submitted. The research was submitted in Wade's name because I don't have the credentials to have peer-reviewed research. But I did at least half of the work on that research. And the research shows how to reduce the risk of stock investing by 70% while increasing returns. You would think that I would have the number one website on the internet. That's investor heaven. It doesn't get any better than that. People are worried about their retirements. People can earn far larger returns that would allow them to retire many years sooner, and they can do it while reducing the risk of stock investing by 70%. And it's all in numbers. It's all verifiable. It's peer-reviewed research. So why don't they do it? Because if they acknowledge that valuations really matter, which is the big insight that we're afraid to talk about. Valuations really matter. It's not Everybody says they matter, but then when they do their allocation, when they decide on their allocation, they don't adjust it for valuation. So actions speak louder than words. If valuations matter, you change your allocation. You go with higher stock allocations when prices are good and with lower stock allocations when prices are bad. But if we acknowledge that, what we're acknowledging is that we caused the economic crisis with that out-of-control bull market of the 90s. And we all know we did. We all know we did. That's why we're so defensive. That's why you see death threats. And that's why you see board bannings. And that's why Wade, after he published that research, was threatened. The buy and hold mafia said, yeah, there's an article about this at the site. I go into detail on it. We will destroy you. We will destroy your career. We will send defamatory emails to your employer and get you fired if you don't back away from these these claims you make in your research. And Wade has 2 small children to provide for, and he backed away. But deep in his heart, Wade still, I have reports at the site on 16 months of my email correspondence with Wade, and he still wants to be telling the truth about stock investing. I know the man. Same thing's true with Jack Bogle. Same thing's true with Bill Bernstein. Same thing's true with Scott Burns. Same thing's true with Larry Swedroe and all my blogger friends, and on and on and on. When one of us gains the right to tell you the truth about how stock investing works, we all gain that right. But today, there's a social stigma on doing this because we're all ashamed of how we contributed to that bull market. We're angry at the lies that were told us that have cost us such financial losses. And we're afraid of what's on the other side. And I'm here to tell you it's all good stuff on the other side of the big black mountain. But we've got to pull together because we're at a crossroads. The next crash will put us in the second Great Depression. Very bad place. If we start spreading the word about what the academic research of the last 30 years tells us about how stock investing really works, we will be on our way to the greatest economic boom we've ever seen. Because for the first time in history, middle-class people will have a way to invest that is safe and smart and simple. So I hope you'll read the materials on the site, and I hope you'll help bring about this social change that we need to achieve. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your coworkers. I invite you to read all the materials at the site, and please write me, ask me questions if you have questions or concerns. Take care.